We have a third speaker today, Leena Jo. Leena is District 100 PRM. Leena has served in several key district leadership roles within Toastmasters, including contest chair, training chair, and currently as the public relation manager for District 100. Each of these roles has provided her with unique insights into leadership, engagement, and organizational growth. Through her journey in the PRM role, she has gained hands on experience in building visibility, strengthening brand presence, and driving membership growth. Today, she will be sharing practical insights, lessons learned, and strategies on public relations and membership, and how the two go ahead and hand in building a thriving Toastmasters community. Leena, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Program Quality Director. Welcome everyone to this Learning Labs, where we're going to talk about how to boost your club's membership. And the question that Michael asked was a perfect segue into my session today. So I'm going to be sharing with you things that I have learned playing the role of public relations manager and being the VP of public relations for my club for several years now. And this is going to be more of a show and tell session, because that is something that I have learned in the world of PR. The best learning experience is by looking out for examples, trying to learn from others. And just as Richard was talking about the World Travelers Club, Traka also was talking about it, I immediately went into Facebook and I started following them, because I believe the more we learn from others, from good examples, we are able to get better at our PR game, at our promotion strategies. So I encourage all of you, even before we get into the session, for you to look out for others from other clubs, other districts, try to follow them, see what they're doing well, see what are some of the things you can replicate, which is suitable for your club, whether you're an online club, a fully in-person club, or a hybrid club. Social media is definitely something that you can make use of for your promotions. I am quickly going to share my screen. So today we're going to talk about a two-pronged strategy to boost our club's membership. This is something that is applicable not only to Toastmasters. How many of you here have some background in sales, or it could be in human resources? I am from a human resource background. Anyone here who's worked in human resources or in sales? Yes, I see some of you have. And I'm sure you would relate to this two-pronged strategy, because this is applicable in sales and human resources as well. So as a HR professional, my goal was to see how we are able to get more employees into the organization, as well as take care of our current employees. And in sales, you talk about the hunting and the farming strategy. Hunting is where you search for new clients, and farming is where you cultivate or continue the relationship with your current clients. Toastmasters is very similar to that, the clubs that we have. We have to see how we're able to provide value to our existing customers, that is our existing members, as well as try to bring in more members into our clubs. So that is why I call it as a two-pronged strategy. So while we are focusing on attracting new members or to get guests to our club, some of the things we can look at are social media platforms. Richard was talking about it. That is one of the most prevalent promotion strategies that is available today. And it's specifically important if your club is online or hybrid, as well as in-person clubs also can take help from social media promotions. And then we have print, we have media promotions. We also have other strategies like conducting open house meetings, the Speechcraft program, which is the #1 membership building tool within Toastmasters. And on the other hand, when we're looking at retaining current customers or current members, we have to see how do we continue providing value for them? How do we help them stay in Toastmasters? And that is where things like having engaging meetings come into picture, trying to see how we can support our members achieve their goals. Each of us joined Toastmasters for different reasons. I joined because I wanted to become a better communicator, because I want to be able to articulate my message better. Some of you would have joined because you were preparing for a work presentation and you needed a platform to practice. Some others might have joined because you were preparing for an interview, and this was a platform for you to try to practice your communication skills. And many others might have joined for the community because you wanted to be part of a learning community. So there are several reasons, several goals that each of us have when we join Toastmasters. So understanding our members' goals and helping them achieve that is very important when it comes to retaining our current members. In today's presentation, we are going to be covering some of these aspects. So I have designed this PR and membership learning labs as a two-part session. So today is going to be the first part. We're going to cover the social media aspect in today's presentation, and the open house, the Speechcraft programs, and the retention strategies we will cover in part 2, which will be the following month. We'll be having it in April. The first thing that we're going to dive into today is social media. And our past international president was talking about referring to social media in his presentation as well. This is a platform where many of our clubs take space and try to do their promotion strategies. If we look at the volume that social media entails today, this is an article from the Global Social Media Platform to 2025. It says that we have about 5.2 billion social media users, and that is more than over 63% of our population. So that is how much of a wide reach social media has. And there are currently about 50 plus social media platforms. On this slide, I have highlighted some of the most prevalent ones that most of our districts and our clubs use. And the reason why I have listed all of them here is to call your attention to see which is the right platform for your club or for your district. It is very important for us to choose the right platform. And I would like to spend a few minutes into this as to why I'm emphasizing on choosing the right platform. Let us assume you are part of a corporate club. In this situation, the recommendation for you to choose the platform is to see where you can connect with professionals, people from the working environment. And the most suited platform for this target audience would be LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is more a professional networking platform, and that would be the best suited one for a corporate club. In addition to your internal communication platforms that your organization might have, internal bulletin boards, it is important to, if you have external connect, it is important to have your presence on LinkedIn. However, if you are a community club and you are trying to focus on reaching out to the current generation, you're trying to, if that is your target audience, then LinkedIn might not be the best place for you to do your promotion. Instead, you could focus on platforms like Instagram, Facebook also for that matter. You have TikTok. TikTok is where you have a lot of the current generation who are very active on the TikTok platform. In fact, I can share an example of one of the clubs that I know who have presence on TikTok, and they use that very effectively because they try to capture short 1-minute videos from their meetings. And I think that's a good strategy. You're trying to give a recap of your meetings. You're trying to communicate to the world what your club truly is. And I think Traka was talking about this when she was giving the example of the World Travelers Toastmasters Club. In all their promotions, they talk about what is the unique value of their club. They start their meetings with what makes their club different. So this club that I was referring to that has a presence on TikTok, they capture all the recordings from their meetings and they post that on the TikTok platform. And they've been able to get so many guests join them just through TikTok. So it is important for us to understand what each of these platforms entail, who are the target audience in each of these platforms, and which is the one that will give your club the best value. So once you are able to understand that, and once you are able to decide which is the best platform for you, that is the first step to your social media promotions. As a district, yes, you might have more than one platform. Even as a club, sometimes you can have more than one platform if you choose to. It's about how much you would want to invest in each of these platforms. The next thing, once you have decided which is the right platform for you, is the message that you're going to communicate. And this is very important because any promotion, any business that you're promoting, or in this case, Toastmasters clubs or the Toastmasters program that we're promoting, it is important for us to communicate to our target audience, who are our potential members, the true value of the program or the true value of the product that you're selling. And this is something that I learned by attending a session by Cheryl Rausch, who is an accredited speaker. She's been a long time Toastmaster. And for those of you who couldn't attend Cheryl's session on marketing like a pro, I have posted a Word document in the chat at the start of this session. That Word document has links to several resources. And one of those links is the recording to Cheryl Rausch's presentation. I strongly encourage you to watch the replay because she goes into details about what are the key promotional elements you need to have in the designs that you create. The first one is, if you're talking about a session, and I'll show you the example, the picture in a bit. If you're talking about a session, you need to talk about why someone should join this. That is the first thing. Because if you're going to create a beautiful poster and put it out there on social media, but if your poster doesn't talk about why someone should join that session, then people are just going to scroll past that. I'm sure all of you will relate to me when we say the attention span that we have is very limited. For those of us who spend some time on social media, you're used to this scrolling trend, and we just, as soon as we see something, unless it captures my attention within the first 2 seconds, I'm scrolling past that. I'm not going to read what is communicated in that design or in that poster. So that is why it is very important to have that hook. You need to have that hook as to what is it in that session? Why should someone join that session? And the next one is, who is this session for? Then we go on to the logistics. That is, when is the session? Is it in person? Is it online? What's the date, the time? And finally, what does someone need to do to attend or participate? And that is where you have the registration, or you have a Zoom link, or if it's in person, you let them know the location. So the logistics is what you cover in the third and fourth point. And that is where you have the call to action, because yes, you've communicated what the session is about. But if they are not going to register for the session, they're not going to be there for your session. So it is important to have the call to action as well. That is what brings them to the session. And this is the example that I had designed. In fact, this was with the guidance of Cheryl as we were marketing her session on Market Like a Pro. And here, if you see, you're talking about why someone should join the session. The first point. Do you want greater response from your communication efforts and fresh ideas to revitalize your club? Discover simple ways to attract visitors and new members. Join this live free workshop today. So it clearly articulates the purpose. And we did talk about purpose even in Richard's session as well. It is important for us to communicate what is the purpose for this. So that is the most important thing that you need to focus on when you are creating your promotion for social media. The next thing is, who is this for? And in this example, this was for an internal audience. What I mean by internal audience is this was promoted to current Toastmasters. So we promoted this in the members group and not on external facing pages. So that is again very important for us to know that we have two audience as PR professionals in Toastmasters. One is internal audience who are current Toastmasters, who understand what the program is and who are able to relate to some of the terminologies that we use. And the second group is potential members or guests, as we call them. So for them, when you're creating content, you need to make sure that you should try to stay away from using some of the Toastmasters terminologies. If you say DTM, that might not be something that they can easily relate to. So that is why it's important for us to know the difference between internal audience and external audience. And this was an example for internal audience that we posted on the members group. So here we are clearly calling out saying this engaging workshop is for all officers, especially if your club has less than 15 members. So we are clearly calling out the target audience for the session as well. And the third one and the fourth one are the logistics part of it. So when is the session and what do you need to do to attend the session? You need to register. The link is mentioned in the description. So this is something that I really want to leave with you, because anything that you try to create going forward, whether it's on social media or even if it's on print, or even if it's for if you're a corporate club, if it's for your internal communication platforms, this strategy holds good. So I'll show you another example for an external audience message as well. This is a session which is being conducted clearly to say that if you are looking for, if you've got an interview and you're preparing for an interview, what do you do next? Many of us have found ourselves in the situation. When we are preparing for an interview, sometimes we feel very overwhelmed. We are not sure how to go about it because we keep applying for several jobs and we might not get acceptances, or we might not get even calls for an interview for many of these. So then we stop and we think, what is going wrong? Why am I not able to get a call for an interview? Or if I have interviewed somewhere, why am I not able to get an acceptance for that job? So this session clearly says that if you are preparing for an interview, then this session is for you. And it clearly calls out that the presenters of this session are industry experts. That is the key thing here. You are invited to this session to learn from experts on this particular topic. And then it goes to call, it calls about who is it for. It's for people who are preparing for interviews. And then it goes into the logistics, which is the time, the date, and finally, how do you register for the session? So this is the same strategy that we saw on the previous slide, the 4-point strategy that we learned from Cheryl's Market Like a Pro presentation. And I encourage you to use this as you create content for your clubs. The next thing that I want to share with you is we spoke about designing content. So how do you go about doing or creating these designs? And there are several designing tools that are available now, and I have listed just some of them over here. There are several more that you might be aware of that your club is already using, but some of the prevalent ones that are existing today is what is listed here. So Canva is one of the biggest designing tools that several districts and clubs use. And the best thing with these designing tools like Canva, Adobe, and Microsoft is that you have several templates to choose from when you're creating your designs. So you don't have to necessarily start from scratch. And why I say this is because I didn't start off as a PR person. As I mentioned at the start, I am from a human resource background, and PR was something which was a distant reality to me. But as I started working on my roles of VP PR in a club and later on as a district public relations manager, I realized that I was able to learn a lot through these designing tools. And that is something that I want to share with all of you who might be having this question at the back of your mind. How do I promote my club if I'm not someone who's creative? Anyone here who's having that question at the back of your mind? You want to promote your club, but then you have no idea how to go about it. You feel that you're not someone who is creative, that you're not someone who has made these designs in the past. So this message is for you, that if you're someone who is looking to learn, and if you're open, if you have that curiosity to learn, then you can definitely learn using these designing tools. So there are several templates that are available. There are several tutorial videos that are available for you to use these designing tools. The next portion of the presentation is I want to share with you some ideas that you can use as a club or a district to have an active PR presence. Now, why do I say we need to have an active PR presence? Let's take an example of when you're looking out for a club. Let's say you're not yet a Toastmaster, you're a guest now and you're shopping around for a club. And if you happen to browse through Facebook or social media or any of the other platforms, and you come across a website or a social media page of one club who is posting content on a very regular basis. And I think the example that Traka shared about the World Travelers Club, she did mention that they post the meeting recaps and content on a regular basis. So if you come across this example, and on the other hand, you come across another Facebook page of a club where the last post was, let's say, 3 years back, which of these two clubs would you gravitate towards? The first one or the second one? Anyone? Which of the two clubs would you gravitate towards? The first one where they post content on a regular basis, or the second club where the last post you see was 3 years ago? The first one.
First one. First one.
Yes, so that speaks for itself. That is why we say that you need to have an active social media presence. And there is a lot of debate around what does active mean? Do I post once a week? Do I post once a month? Or do I post once a day? And my answer for all of you is you need to see what makes the best sense for you. If you are able to have content that is posted at least once a week, that is the best thing that we can say. I do know some clubs, some districts post once a day as well. And if that is something you are able to do, then definitely that is something that you should try. But at least once a week is something that we are suggesting or recommending. And you might think, okay, if I have to post once a week, that is a whole lot of content. Where am I going to get this content from? And how am I going to go about creating so much content? So that is what we are going to look at now. I'm going to share with you some strategies, some ideas which you can use to create content in an effective manner. You can try to reuse content that is already created. You can try to create some templates that you can use, and that is going to help you have some of these recurring posts. I see a question from Krish.
Yeah, the question I have is that you just talked about providing updates in the meeting to the club members. And the question was that do you want to post it weekly, monthly, and so on? And I think it's very important that that communication vehicle is used all the time, because that's how members that didn't attend a meeting will keep themselves up to date with what's going on. And that provides a connection for them to continue to be active with the club. And I find that those weekly updates help the members that do not attend to feel connected to the club. And I think that's how you keep membership active, and to some extent keep them being part of the club and continue to renew. That's an important element, I believe. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. Those members who weren't able to attend, you want to show them what they missed out on by not attending a meeting. So having those meeting recaps posted is definitely a good idea. And in fact, I have an example for that particular point in the following slides that I will show you. So it is interesting that Krish brought up that point. So here are some of the things that you can look at when you are looking for recurring posts. Having your meeting themes posted on a weekly basis, if you're meeting weekly, having the recaps posted. Then you can have things like word of the day. You can have quotes that are inspirational quotes around communication, leadership. You can talk about the recognition for your members. That is a great thing for you to do, because you're not only talking about your club, you're not only telling the world that, hey, this is a club where we celebrate our members, where we celebrate the progress and achievements that they've made, but you're also communicating to your current members that we are with you in your growth journey. So it is a two-prong. The two-prong strategy actually works when you're having promotions done around member recognition. You're focusing on new members as well as on your current members. So these are some things that you can look at. And in the following slides, I'm going to show you some examples, because as I said, in PR, I think show and tell is the best thing, where you can learn from other examples and you can try to incorporate those in your promotions as well. Some other things that you can look at for consistent posts is celebrations. If you're having a milestone coming up, if you're having a club anniversary coming up, a members Toastmasters anniversary, or a birthday. So any of these things are good promotion strategies for you. Then if you have any special meetings, if you're conducting a workshop, if you're conducting an open house, or if you are participating in a community event, you're attending a book festival where you are trying to promote Toastmasters. So any of these events, special events, are also a good strategy for you to communicate and to promote your club. And yes, you can try to reuse some of the content. We have so many posts that are available on the Toastmasters international social media groups, where they talk about the benefits of Toastmasters and they talk about some of the practical tips for Toastmasters. All those are also great content for you to reuse or reshare on your club and district pages from the Toastmasters international social media. So let's look at some of the examples for all what I've captured over here. And we need to remember that in all the content that we create, the focus should be, why should someone join Toastmasters? That is the key message that should come across in your content. You need to say, this is something for you to try to check out, and you need to clearly articulate what is the value that they are going to get, and also focus on why do people stay in Toastmasters? What is the continued purpose for them in Toastmasters? So this is the first example I wanted to share with you. This is the promotion for a new club that we are trying to launch. And I'll let you take a few moments to go through this poster, and I want to hear from you. What are some of the things that strike a chord with you when you see this poster? And I want you to look at it from a point of view where you are not yet a Toastmaster. So if you are a potential Toastmaster, what are some of the things that will capture your attention and make you want to join this particular meeting? Who would like to share?
Leena, I appreciate the what's in it for me. I can see there are people that I can relate to, especially the group down at the bottom looks like it may be military. Being a veteran myself, that really I zeroed in there. But the why, you articulate what I can expect or get from. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Aneta. Would anyone else like to share what? Yes, Katie, go ahead.
Yeah, I went through this recently in a club where we've really struggled trying to put together an open house flyer because there's so many insistent parameters from Toastmaster International. What I really love to see are candid shots, like the top right picture looks like a candid shot of actual club members. You expect to actually see those people when you show up. That means the world to me. And as wonderful as stock photos can be, it's like a big stack of white bread going moldy and on the center of the counter. You just want to throw it away. It's like it's so meaningless. It looks so banal. What I love about this, again, like Annetta said about the what's in it for me, is find your voice and people helping people. To me, that is the most important aspect of our club. The most critical critique that you can get is going to help you the most. It'll really help see you on your way like a kick in the keister, which is what you really need. And our manner of doing the evaluations is the sandwich. You know, you start with, you done good at this, you could work on this, and you can challenge yourself with that. That is helpful. It's realistic. When you have a glaring problem, it is pointed out for you, of course, in a compassionate manner, and you're given the little gold stars on your chart. It's just the human touch. And this one with the candid shots, to me, that gives it the human touch. Without that, I'm not interested, frankly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Katie. Yes, Umanga, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, when I look at this flyer, there are three things really catch for my attention. One was the pictures with how it looked like comfortable way with a beautiful smile in everyone's face. The second one, the gain confidence. When we are in a very comfortable way, how we are going to gain confidence. That is second thing. And the third thing, find your voice. These are the three things that catch my attention, and that is the reason I am very attracted to this flyer.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Umanga. And there you go. So we have three prospective members who are going to join this club, and all for different reasons. Aneta was drawn to the image on the bottom right corner. Katie was drawn to the image on the top right. And Umanga was drawn to words like find your voice and gain confidence. So through this example, we are able to see that when you clearly communicate what is in it for you, why should you join this, and try to have a true depiction of your club. So they've had pictures here. They've chosen pictures here which are from this community. As Katie said, it's not stock images. It is actual people. So if I attend this meeting, I'm going to see the people who are shown in these images. So this is a good strategy that you can use for your club and district promotions, is to showcase your club's value, to actually let the world know who is behind the club, who are the people behind that club. And that can help attract people because they are able to see that, okay, this is a place I want to be. These are the kind of people that I want to be part of a community. So that is something that you need to focus on. Few other things that you can call out in your promotions is, what are your target audience's interest area? Again, it's on the same point of what is in it for me. But you're clearly calling out some specific things, like the example that is seen here. So this is a club called Project Masters, Toastmasters. And here they're clearly calling out saying, do you need to fine-tune a work presentation? Toastmasters gives you the platform to practice that. So it is a very simple statement. It just says, it's just talking about one particular problem area or one particular interest area. So if your club has some specific things or unique values that you have, to give an example, Umanga, Katie, Anita, and I, we are part of a club which is called Listening Earned, Speaking Learned. This is a club where we focus not only on speaking skills, but also on our listening skills. And the promotion that we are trying to do for this is to call that out, to say, hey, if you feel you've attended so many meetings and you've slowly lost the touch with listening, with active listening, then this is the club for you, because this is a club where we practice active listening. So each club has got that unique value that you have. So clearly articulate that in your promotions. And another example from the same club, Project Masters, is here they're talking about the benefits of the evaluation segment in Toastmasters meetings. They say that if you're trying to work on presenting proposals for your clients, or if you're trying to articulate your recommendations with conviction, then this is something that you can gain benefits by attending Toastmasters meetings, because through the evaluation role, you're able to learn some of these communication skills. So find the unique value that your club has and use that to your advantage in all your promotions. This is another very simple example where it talks about the pain point. All of us, or at least some of us, were not the best communicators to start off with. We had difficulties when we were made to stand in front of an audience and present something. We had a lot of challenge that we were working with. So this clearly says every confident speaker started somewhere. And I think when Richard was talking about the open houses where he was suggesting not to go in with your best speaker, because then you want to make sure that there is a backstory and you want the people to see that backstory. I think I was immediately reminded of this particular image that is shown here. So here it's showing you that even if you are not a confident communicator today, you can start and you can move to becoming a confident communicator. You can practice speaking in a supportive environment, and that is why you need to join our club. This is an example of another club. This club is within District 100, and their unique feature is that they weave humor into their Toastmasters programs and meetings. This is the unique value of this club. So if you are someone who is looking to have an element of humor, especially with so much going around us, and when we really are longing or yearning to have some lighter moments in some of our meetings, this might be a club that you will be drawn to, because you get the benefits of the Toastmasters program, as well as you get to practice it in a fun and a light-hearted environment. So this is something which is very important for us to remember. We need to first understand and identify the unique value in our club. And only once we identify that, will we be able to articulate that in all our promotions. So that is why I wanted to give you this example to show you that difference. Few other things that you can focus on in your promotions is trying to provide helpful strategies, and all these are taken from the Toastmasters International social media pages and some from the district social media page. This is all to show that you can create content which engages with your audience, and it is content that will relate to your audience. So if you are able to provide some strategies, some tips for them to work on their communication, to work on their leadership skills, then that is something that can draw them towards your Toastmasters program. And all these, as I said, you can reuse it. You can share it from the Toastmasters International page onto your club's page or onto your district's page. Member testimonials is another great tool I believe every club should try to leverage on. Because again, going back to what Katie said when she spoke about the images, saying these are the people I'm going to meet. Member testimonials also does that. When you see the images of members from a club, when you see why they are in that club, what keeps them in that club, that communicates to you that, okay, if this is something that I'm looking out for, then yes, I would definitely want to join this club. So here you have someone saying that I couldn't have achieved in my career without Toastmasters. So if you are someone who's sailing in the same boat, if you feel that you need to get a jump start on your career, you need to do something different, you need to work on your communication and leadership skills, then when you come across a post like this, it will draw you in saying that, okay, I want to attend a club meeting and see how I can achieve in my career as well. So lean on your members, try to see if you're able to communicate their testimonials on your social media pages. Recognition and community is another great tool that you can use. Anytime you have, many clubs follow this pattern where you have the best speaker, you have a best evaluator, a best table topics speaker for your meetings. So if that is something that you do, then definitely spread that word across your social media platforms as well, because then it is showing that your club is a club that is achieving, it is celebrating achievements of your members. Anytime you have a club anniversary, anytime you have club gatherings like the one that you see in the center here, Parsons Toastmasters, here they're talking about a meeting that they have or a gathering that they have outside their Toastmasters meetings. And this is something that they do as an end of year holiday luncheon. So if you are someone who's looking for a community, if you're someone who really wants to create friendships, then you would be drawn to this club when you see the image that they have posted. So try to see what are some of the ways that you can celebrate your members, celebrate your club and your community. And this is a report that I wanted to share with you where it says that your message is, before it is read, it is felt. And that is why it is very important to have powerful visuals. All the images that I shared in the previous slides, I wanted to communicate this where visuals that capture your attention. It is, in this report, it is mentioned that 74% faster, that is the percentage that people are, it is, sparking your memory when you're seeing a visual content as against dull content. So that is why it is important to have those powerful visuals, have images from your club meetings, have images of your members, and that is something that will connect well with your audience. These are again examples of recurring posts, meeting themes, meeting recaps, and the one in the center is the one I was talking about when Krish shared the point about posting the meeting recap, because that is going to tell your current members who couldn't attend your meeting, hey, this is what you missed out on. And this club, they do it very well, where they say that, okay, this is all what happened in the meeting, and we missed our members who couldn't attend. So that is a way of bringing them back. It is a way of telling them that you missed this meeting, but you should join the next meeting. So I think meeting recaps is something that is a great way to do your promotions. And this is talking about having different formats for your social media platforms. So we did talk about the various platforms right at the beginning. We spoke about LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and several others. And each of these platforms, as we saw, were for different audience. The content format also is very different between these platforms. If you look at Instagram and TikTok, they are more a short video oriented platform. So recording a 1-minute clip from your meeting, or you can have a member share a testimonial as a short 1-minute video. These are some of the things that will work well on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Whereas on a LinkedIn or a Facebook, you will lean more towards static posts, images, static images, and not as much as videos or reels. So in LinkedIn, you have this format called carousel, the one that is on the left extreme here. This is where you can keep swiping from right to left. So anytime you have, so the image that I've shown here, where these are some steps that you can follow when you're participating in table topics. So it's about you scrolling through those steps. So content like that, the best format that you can use is carousel, and that is something that is suited in a LinkedIn platform. So it's important to understand the content format that works well or works best in each of the platforms and tailoring your content in line with that. The last thing I want to leave you with is engagement. And why is this important? Till now, we saw there are various things we can focus on to create content that is going to promote your club. And once you create these beautiful designs, and if you've posted it on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, what happens if no one engages with your content? It is just a piece of design which is somewhere out there in the social media void, and no one's actually seeing it. So that is where engagement is very important. And these are some of the strategies that you can look at to build engagement with your social media posts. The first one is trying to use relevant trending hashtags. And why is this important? Because when someone is searching for keywords like public speaking or leadership development or communication skills, you want your clubs or your district's content to show up on the search results for them. And one way to achieve this is by adding these hashtags in your social media posts. And I have listed here a few trending hashtags that can be used within the Toastmasters community. These are hashtags that work really well to draw people to our Toastmasters content. The next thing you can do is tag your club members or your district members. And an example is what I have shown on this slide. This is one of my clubs, Caltech Toastmasters. And anytime I post content on my club's social media page, I make it a point to tag my club members. Why do I do this? Because we did speak about social media being such a vast platform. There is so much content there. So when my fellow club members are spending time on social media, this might not be the first thing that they see. But if I tag them, they get a notification saying that, hey, you've been tagged on your club's post. That way, it takes them directly to that post and they are able to engage faster with that post. So that is why it is important to see that you tag your fellow club members. That way they are able to engage with it, and encourage them to share the post further, to comment and like, because the more interactions that we have with a post, the more engagement that we have with the post, the wider the reach. And that is the most important thing we are trying to achieve here. We want a wider reach, and that is how we can draw in more prospective members. So this is just examples of how you can create engaging posts, ask questions. The one that we use for District 100 for the word of the day, what we do is we post a word of the week, and then we ask people to use that in a sentence. And we have Aneta's example over here, where Aneta is using the word amalgamate in an example. So when you're creating content, design it with interaction in mind. See what elements you can add to your promotion, which will encourage or nudge your audience to interact with that particular promotional material. And this is about the club website as well. In addition to social media, you should ensure you have a welcoming and up-to-date club website. Make sure you call out what your unique value is in your club website. I have a list of examples over here. I'll post this in the chat. If any of you are interested to see how some clubs have designed their website. And the best part is each of these examples that I have listed here, you will find each club website is so different from one another. Some of them talk about the recognition platforms that they have. Some of them talk about the celebrations that they have. One club talks about the contest participation, the history of contest participation from their club. So each club features different things on their website. And it is interesting to see this because that is how, even though we are all within this umbrella of Toastmasters International, each club has got its unique personality. And that is something you can clearly articulate through your club website and your social media promotions. And we do have a training program that we conducted specifically for club websites, which was presented by Edna from our PR team. I have the link to her training recording in the resource document that I posted. So if anyone's interested, I encourage you to take a look at that. And I want to leave you with the 3 key takeaways. The first one is build an active PR presence. Going back to the example of the 2 clubs that we saw, one which had a consistent presence and the other which the last post was 3 years ago, we clearly saw how we gravitate towards clubs that have an active presence. So that is important. And we saw some of the tips that you can use to maintain an active presence. So you can calendarize, like the word of the day, you can have quote of the week. So that is something like a calendar, and you have your meeting themes, your meeting recaps. So you can have at least 1 or 2 posts every week, and create templates on whichever platform you're using, Canva or Adobe. That way you don't have to design so many different things. You just create one template for meeting themes and use the same thing week on week. You just have to change the theme, change the date, and with that you're able to create content easily. So look for easy ways to create content such that you have an active PR presence. The next one is understand your target audience. What is your club's unique value proposition? Focus on why someone should join your club. And that should be the key message that is communicated in all your promotion content. And finally, engagement is key. Create content to see how you can invite your audience to engage, whether it is current Toastmasters or whether it is potential Toastmasters. See what you can design in line with their pain points, in line with their interest areas. That way you are drawing your guests and members in. With this, I will stop sharing, and I know we are almost we are over the top of the hour, but if there are any questions, if you would like to stay on, I'm happy to stay on for a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Leena. Such a fantastic lesson session, and you shared a lot of important points that we can apply in our Toastmasters Club as well as our community to gain members and attract, and how are we going to show our club identity to the community. Thanks again. So if you have